with the video in a while. There's not much going on in boxing. Yeah, there was the Barachnik Zepeda fight. I feel bad for Barachnik, especially he's a young guy, but he's already, taken plenty of years off his career trying to be a, machismo type dude, with that type of fight. That's MMA type stuff, that was going down in that fight. Those guys, they definitely took years off their career. And what's his name? He got his license suspended, which they typically do after every fight. But in his case, man, I don't know how anyone can come back from a beating like that. He was knocking Zepeda down a lot. But you could tell that it was Zepeda's knockdowns that were actually, being more effective. He looked more drunk when he would get knocked down and more hurt. Zepeda, he'd get knocked down, but he'd get right back up. He looked fine. He had his legs and everything else, But what's his name? I mean, you could just see the crescendo with each knockdown, how it was affecting him more. And pray for that guy. I hope, he has a backup plan other than boxing, because that's definitely going to take a lot of years off of his career. He may have a nice however many fights left, but I would not choose boxing as my all my eggs in a basket moving forward. But that's not the point of this video. I want to kind of go over the Vasily Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez prediction and just my thoughts on the matchup. When you overthink it, it's a tough fight to try to predict. But when you break things down, it's pretty simple. And the way my approach to this fight is just, practicality versus gimmicks, okay? And a lot of Lomachenko fans are going to find this video offensive, but I don't care. This fan base is fucking by far probably one of the most pathetic fan bases in boxing. Probably the most moist fanboys out of anybody, even like out of Errol Spence fans, GGG fans that I'll talk shit to, you know what I'm saying? The Lomachenko fans are by far just the thin-skinned fan base out there. But I'm just going to say what I got to say. And like I said in a lot of my videos, just hold me to my word, come back, and we'll talk about it, all right? But anyhow, I think the age and experience that Lomachenko has, it's not that big of a factor, and it's not that much of an advantage that people are thinking it is. You have two separate groups, on the opposite sides of the spectrums. One group is saying that Teofimo Lopez is just going to go in there and knock out Lomachenko. On the other end, you have the Lomachenko fans saying that, no Moschenko, he's just going to school him and he's going to, make him quit or all this other nonsense. Me personally, this is a true 50-50 fight. Again, I don't see the age and experience being that much of an advantage for Vasily Lomachenko. Lomachenko, with his past few performances, he's been on the decline. And I'm not saying due to age or anything. It's just that you're now fighting bigger men. And these guys aren't even like that great a competition. We're talking about C-level fighters. A Campbell, a guy who's borderline UK domestic level, a guy who's done nothing in his career other than earn participation awards. Just like the people who are predicting Derevchenko to beat Jamal Charlo. After the fight, they start saying things like, oh, well, he was old and he's never done nothing in boxing. But you guys were just on that bandwagon predicting, since he's fought better people and all this other shit, that he was going to school Jamal Charlo and all this other shit. I mean, this was one of the few channels on YouTube, you can go check my videos, that kept it a buck. My main thing is you guys give too much credence to participation awards today in boxing. And the fact that a guy like Campbell, who has not done nothing in his career, but maybe beat one top 10 borderline, opponent in Mindy, but this was after the fact Mindy walked him down and already beat him. And they had to age him out a little bit before they finally got that revenge, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, you gotten participation awards. That is all you've accomplished in professional boxing. Pedraza, a straight up and down fighter who throws punches just to throw punches. They're not even really impactful, but he was able to hurt Lomachenko on multiple occasions. His punches stung him, busted him up, hurt him to the body, hitting him to the head, busted that face up. I mean, these are the type of guys that are busting up Lomachenko. And another thing you got to notice is that these people always try to push this narrative that Lomachenko is too small to really do anything that other greats have done, that he gets the leapfrog. You know what I'm saying? Lomachenko supposedly is something we've never seen before. He's better than guys like Floyd Mayweather and shit. But whenever he's asked to do something, like even fight an old Manny Pacquiao, oh, he's too small. You know what I'm saying? Manny's too big. But, he gets to still leapfrog all these guys, you know what I'm saying, and still be ranked above them. It's a scenario where the media and the fan base, they want to give excuses, you know what I'm saying? But they want him to have his cake and eat it too. And I just don't understand that. If you are this fucking unbelievable fighter with this unbelievable ring IQ, you know what I'm saying? Why don't you do what even Mickey Garcia's done? And I'm not talking about moving up and fighting like Errol Spence or something. I'm talking about just doing what a Mickey Garcia's done. Move up to 140 and beat someone at 140. Do something just on that level. You know what I'm saying? You have guys like Shane Mosley moved up 2 weight classes, beat Oscar De La Hoya. To me, you're not even doing what those guys are doing. Do you understand? But you get to leapfrog all these dudes because, it's what have you done for me lately? And boxing, they spend so much time trying to fabricate guys. I believe Lomachenko's style, and this has always been the case, even when he fought Salido, it does not transfer well against bigger opposition, regardless if they're C level or not. You know what I'm saying? C or D level or not. And I think him and his team are quite aware of this. They know their limits. And, they've been some careful matchmaking in Lomachenko's career. And there's been, especially with this franchise champion nonsense going on with that in itself deserves its own video. But they know what they're dealing with. Boxing is desperate right now. It's continuing to dwindle. It's losing out to MMA. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely by far a niche sport at this point. And it's falling even desperately lower than that at this point. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe volleyball, will surpass it or some shit at some point at the rate that it's just dropping in interest of the casuals and the general public as a whole, especially here in America. In other countries, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? But it's being watered down and the standards just keep getting lowered. And it's because boxing just does not let true greats organically become a reality. They try so hard and desperate, to try to fabricate these guys. And as I said, the experience, people are going to say that that's a dumb comment. Lomachenko has all this amateur experience and everything else. But I guarantee you, you're both at 16 fights. I think Teofimo Lopez's style is just more practical for the professional game. I think he has a higher probability of being more successful at higher weight classes than Lomachenko does. I don't buy into this Lomachenko is small. He's even taller than fucking Teofimo Lopez when they stood side by side each other. When you look at the Nicholas Walters and Lomachenko weigh-in, he's taller than fucking Nicholas Walters. Do you understand? A lot of your careful matchmaking, you had Guillermo Rigondeaux move up 2 weight classes. I can't give you pound for pound when you're fighting a midget who moved up. I don't care about the circumstances, you know what I'm saying, of, well, he called him out and all that bullshit. I don't care about your excuses. The fact of the matter is that Guillermo Rigondeaux was old and he was a fucking midget. He had no business around that weight. I'm sorry. Nicholas Walters, again, Transnational Ring Magazine didn't even have him ranked in that division. You understand? He was shelved and he had to lose 50 pounds before the fight. Those are just facts, dude. You're fighting guys kind of in opportune scenarios, opportune moments, when it's nice to get them. And I'm watching you here struggle with some C-level competition like Pedraza Campbell, like I said. Linares, you can try to pass him off as a B-level fighter, although in his career, he's never beat a B-level fighter in his career. His best wins are considered Campbell and Crolla. And I mean, when you look, you can't even get past guys like DeMarco or a Cano. Cano started his career like in 2004, 2005, dude. He's been a $2 whore that's been passed around. Typically when you need an opponent after a tough loss or whatever, you call Cano. Do you understand? And you couldn't even get past Cano. So, I mean, Linares, you're a poor man's Amir Khan. I mean, when I put their resume, side by side and I look at, who's done what, Amir Khan's resume is by far better quality than Linares by a fucking country mile easily. He's got better names, better wins, and he's got better losses. I mean, you could say what you want, but Khan, he's losing to guys like Canelo. You understand? He's losing to guys like Terrence Crawford. You're over here losing to dudes that fucking nobody even heard of, especially this new age that, you know, that's just now getting into boxing. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, people who hype up Linares are Lomachenko fans so that it makes Lomachenko look better than what he is. And this is what I'm talking about. It's called practicality versus gimmicks. Now, if Teofimo Lopez, he kind of has an excuse for why a guy like a 6-footer named Nakatani can bust him up. You understand? But Lomachenko, I guarantee if he fought Nakatani as well, he would get bust up and hurt in that fight as well. You're struggling with sea-level opposition that are just like 5'9", 5'8". You know what I'm saying? And it has to do, once again, get this theme in your head, practicality versus gimmicks. When you don't allow him to do all that trickster-ass shit, that sidestep and everything else, you know what I'm saying? What is Lomachenko when you break him down to bare bones minimum? He's just a pressure fighter who has to stay at close range at mostly all times to be effective and to get the W. This has always been the case. When Salido, who was old and at the end of his fucking career, and yes, he did weigh more than Lomachenko, but that's the point of pound for pound. How are you going to give a guy pound for pound status, but then use size and weight as an excuse, you know, for why you lost, and some other shit that we'll get into, you know, the fouls or whatever. But I'm going to tell you about that aspect of Lomachenko's game as well, because it's going to play into how I feel Teofimo Lopez can overcome and beat Lomachenko. So Lomachenko, his skill set just does not, it's not practical and it does not transfer weight that good. You know, when he comes across guys that aren't shoe-in wins for him, he gets busted up. He's limited to just a pressure fighter. He does not have a back foot game. He cannot box going backwards, although you guys want to claim that he has, you know, one of the greatest ring IQs and skill sets in boxing. You can't even fight going backwards. You are a pressure fighter at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? That is your most effective range. When Linares started tagging him up and shit, what did he have to do? He had to close the gap. He had to get on side and tough it out with Linares. So, I mean, does that really take skill? To a certain degree, yes. But unlike a Floyd Mayweather, who can sit here and box a guy from the outside and hardly ever get touched, you lack that ability. So you have to throw yourself into the fire. And since you throw yourself into the fire, you get beat up and busted up in a lot of your fights. You get hurt a lot. And I'm willing to say that even in the top 5 pound for pound, you're probably the guy that takes the most damage. You understand? The consensus top pound for pound fighters. You've been knocked down. You're getting busted up. You're getting hurt to the body, to the head. And it's against sea-level opposition that really has not even done nothing in boxing. Do you understand? But, you know, I look at Teofimo Lopez. Yes, he's young. But you guys are saying, I think he's been matched harder his past couple of fights than Lomachenko has. I believe that Teofimo Lopez, if the opponents were switched and changed, he would have less trouble with guys like Linares. He'd have less trouble with guys like Campbell and Pedraza. I think those are all 3 knockouts on his resume, man. It's just the way I feel. Like I said, there's people that are going to be offended by this video because I'm not worshiping their demigod. I understand fandom, especially in today's boxing. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of killing the sport because people just don't want the sport to be a sport anymore. You know, they want their guys to be protected and prosper and to be crowned before they even get to the point where they've done anything truly great that deserves them to be crowned. But Teofimo Lopez, the hand speed is about equal. You know, if one guy has more hand speed than the other, the margin of separation is not that much at all. We're talking about hairs. Defense, you're about the same. But here's the thing. I believe Teofimo Lopez has better constitution. He's stronger. I think he probably can take a better punch, and he's got better constitution than Lomachenko. So then I got to slightly give him the edge in defense just on that fact alone as well. Ring IQ, ring generalship, of course, goes to Lomachenko. But here's the deal, because it's a double-edged sword. We all know, and Teofimo Lopez and his dad know, the guy does not like to get hit to the body. So, you know, you can't knock it. It's still a good tactic, but it also exposes your weakness. He complains a lot about a lot of phantom fouls, especially when he gets hit clean to the body. And a lot of people, they kind of overlook this fact, but when Linares knocked him down, in whatever round that was, he was effectively going to the body. And it started to frazzle and scare Anatoly and fucking Lomachenko so much, they started complaining to the ref about low blows. So he's frazzled, and they finally had to even warn Linares that he's hitting him low. Do you understand? When he was not. He was landing clean, effective body shots on Lomachenko. And that's what truly set up that knockdown in that round. It was not him just going to sleep or whatever. He was getting frazzled by the body shots. And if Teofimo Lopez goes to the body on him, it's going to set all kinds of other stuff up, especially up top. Another punch that Linares was kind of controlling, even Luke Campbell was kind of controlling Lomachenko with, was the left hook. When you take Lomachenko's ability to sidestep to his right, do you understand? Because he leans to his right all the time. It always lets him lean right into that left hook. Linares was starting to time him with the lead left hook as well. Teofimo Lopez has a wonderful lead left hook. That was a punch that really hurt Comey before any other punch in that fight. Before he landed that, explosive fucking overhand right that basically ended the fight, against Comey. But his lead left hook was the thing that set all that shit up. So if these guys been watching fucking film and they see, Anatoly's philosophy on fighting, because you'll see it in Usyk, Bostic, and Lomachenko. They all complain to the ref when they get hit to the body and act like they've been hit low. Excuse me real quick. They try to use those type of veteran tactics. And like I said, it's led to success, so you can't knock it. But at the same time, you saw Beterbiev did not give a fuck. He kept going on. Another thing is this pity-pat type punching, you know what I'm saying, when they're trying to set up sneaky-ass punches. And that's what I'm talking about. In boxing, you just got to throw effective punches that land hard. It's not the amateurs where you're trying to just score points, or a karate tournament where you're just trying to touch the guy and you get awarded a fucking point. You know what I'm saying? In boxing, if you just sit down on your punch while he's doing all that little pity-pat misdirection type bullshit, magician bullshit that he does, and if you just punch through that and land hard punches, dude, you'll get past the little mind game that he's trying to play on you. You understand? With Lomachenko, it's a lot of gimmicks, it's a lot of mind games, a lot of trickery bullshit. And I think him and his father are well aware of this. As far as getting tired, because we all know Lomachenko, and you see the tendencies in a lot of his fights. He likes to break guys down with mental pressure, Like I said, he's a pressure fighter. At the end of the fucking day, he doesn't really do anything like fight off the back foot, outbox guys from the outside. He has to be up close and personal in damn near every fucking fight, even against Guillermo Rigondeaux. You know what I'm saying? That mental pressure broke Guillermo Rigondeaux down, especially the size advantage as well. But, that's what he relies on, is these people being frazzled by all this nonsense, all these pity-pat punches, him slipping in some sneaky punches to the body or whatever. But I think, Teofimo Lopez and his dad, they're ready for that. You know what I'm saying? If they take cues from the Beterbiev-Bostic fight and they saw that Beterbiev, whenever was throwing those nice, beautiful choreographed combinations, you know what I'm saying? They look all flashy, they look beautiful. But Beterbiev would just step in and land a fucking hard punch during that shit. And you could hear it through the fight. Yes, that shit's going to score points with the judges and shit. And the commentary's going to, they're going to, according to them, say that, you're winning the fight on points or whatnot. But what you want to do, your intent needs to be to go in there and hurt and damage, not try to look good for fucking judges. And I think it's going to be the difference of the fight. When fucking Lomachenko starts fucking crying to the ref about being fouled, you go right back down to his fucking body. You don't let that shit fly. You understand? You don't let those little tricks get to you. You don't let that affect you. You just punch through it. I think Teofimo Lopez is going to win this fight. I don't see a knockout from either guy. I don't see a stoppage from either guy. To me, this is a true 50-50 fight. I think Lomachenko has been a little overrated and been pumped up a little bit. You know, boxing's desperate. They always try to fabricate stars today. Like I said, they don't let guys organically become that dude today. You know, there's a lot of special effects with the matchmaking. There's a lot of protection with the WBC franchise champion and all that shit today. They go through huge extremes on trying to protect fighters today. And I think it's to their own detriment. It stunts their true growth and true potential. You know what I'm saying? Back then, dudes would just fight, you know. Sugar Ray Leonard already fought Hearns before he was like 26 years old. You understand? He already fought the top fighters, you know what I'm saying? He continued to fight top fighters. Even Terry Norris, which I think was his last fight when he was only like 32, 33, or 34 around there. Even still taking on killers. Do you understand? Today, they don't do that. You understand? I don't think Lomachenko and his fans ever wanted this fight. I know Lomachenko made negotiations difficult. They didn't like the venue because they felt like they were going to get cheated. I think it's just time right now. But again, hold me to my fucking word. I got Teofimo Lopez winning by majority decision. I think he's going to get awarded for the more meaningful punches. He's going to do the more damage. And I think Lomachenko is going to hurt his case when he's complaining to the refs about being low blowed and all this other shit. It's going to make him look weaker in the eyes to the judges and to the viewers at home. I got Teofimo Lopez by majority decision. It's going to be a nice back and forth fight. It's going to be close. It's going to be a chess match. It's going to live up to the hype, I believe, because the matchup, you got two guys who really don't possess the ability to own the other. You know what I'm saying? They each got each other's equalizer, but Lomachenko's needs more traps set up to set up what he wants to do because they think they're going to drown a 23-year-old, you know, who has testosterone through the fucking roof right now. And, you know, just like a young scorpion or a young snake will blow his fucking whole load, you know, in one fight if he needs to. I think that's going to be the wrong approach for this fight. If I was Lomachenko, I would try to end the fight early, you know. But I think if he tries to take him into deep waters and drown him, it's not going to be what he thinks. You're trying to do this against a 23-year-old, a guy who has more testosterone than you, a guy, you know, who feels like he's more invincible than you. That is the advantage of youth over experience, especially when that experience is over here getting busted up by C-level fighters with no special effects. Tio, for whatever reason, he's knocking guys the fuck out. And like I said, past couple fights, I believe Nakatani and Comey were harder opponents to fight than what they've been feeding Lomachenko, which is Linares' leftovers. You understand? But that's just my opinion. Again, hold me to my word. And, you know, I'd like to hear your guys' feedback. Let's make it constructive. If people want to talk shit, I can do that too. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not a proxy race war for a lot of people in boxing today. It's pathetic that a lot of guys get sensitive because, you know, they share the same skin color for a guy and they think that someone is just being biased and racist when you talk shit about their fighter. It's pathetic. And quite frankly, the nature of men today, especially boxing fans, you know, they're very sensitive today and they're kind of like groupies in today's age. But please hold me to my word. Let's talk about it. Tell me what you think. Bye.
Formless and void. So